Hello. We're making a video, and I have a flower from the garden. It is called Camellia japonica Professor Sargent. It is a beautiful specimen. These are several flowers in one flower, sort of convoluted. I love those. Specific creation, specific breed by botanist Professor Sargent. I don't know when that was, last century or something. And this one has a specific, these are Barbie pink, like my fingernails. I painted my fingernails and I thought, oh, this is a total match. I didn't even deliberately, intentionally paint my fingernails this color in order to match the flower. But then I thought, oh, it does match the flower almost perfectly. Looks awesome. And the flower has some white spots in there on those petals, and looks really nice. Absolutely gorgeous. So this flower here and the very thick leaves that almost look like they're made out of plastic, and the stem, everything of this plant is in the Camellia family, Camellia japonica, obviously, the Camellia from Japan originally, and the Camellia, all the Camellias, including Camellia sinensis, which is what everyone knows to be green tea or black tea. Green tea is the unprocessed form. Camellia sinensis, which is related to this, is in the tea family. Camellia sinensis has theine, which is a form of caffeine. This one doesn't have it. But this one has, as I would say, all of the camellias, it has anti-fungal, anti-carcinogenic, anti-viral, antibacterial, anti-pathogenic, anti-parasitic properties. That's what they all have. This one in particular, real strong. Really strong. And so I don't know how much of the concentration of the medicinal chemicals that it comes with are in the petals, but it feels like they are in the petals. So they're very healing. And they get rid of all the viruses, including the lab-created viruses. The petals taste kind of bland. It tastes a little bit bitter, almost. And the flower has a very faint scent of carnation, but they're not related, which is interesting. This is not related. I mean, not related in the sense that they come from the same family origins. Everything is related. We are related to this flower here. Ultimately. But much, much, much more distant. So this one looks like carnation, very similar. Smells like carnation, but very, very faint. And is not in the same family. It's much farther distantly related. Just as distantly related as it is to rose. And I find it very interesting to observe that in nature, and that's where the quantum field comes in. In nature, even though two plants are not in the same family and are much more distantly related, if they look very similar, they often have other similar characteristics as well that it comes with. So if someone asks me to look at like even the photo of two unrelated flowers from unrelated plants, and they ask me, do you think that they smell the same even though they're unrelated? I would say yes, they're probably gonna smell similar. That's my first bet, because that's what I observe in nature. It's really interesting, really nice. It has to do with the law of attraction. It has to do with the quantum field entanglement. It has to do with parallel manifestation. I observe that a lot. I want to get more into it in this video. Now, I find that extremely interesting, the subject. So, it was really interesting. This goes into the field of what Donald Hoffman is talking about. And what Robert Edward Grant is talking about. And all researchers that are diving into the quantum field. It's really, really nice. Really healing. The video also sends you healing energy, flower healing energy. You can fall asleep to this video, to the message of love, to the spoken message of love, to the soft spoken message of love, to the quantum message of love, to the energy healing power of love, and to the subliminal message of love. So when you're falling asleep and you're sleeping while you're watching this video, then it has a subliminal healing effect on you, on all of you, because I love all of you. It's very important for me to say this. I have gang member men on this jacket here, and I also painted the 8 on the side. This jacket came with the gang members. I would normally not have put gang members on the jacket because I'm not into gang type of activities. But I painted this on, the 8 on the side, with fabric paint, because that's the infinity sign. So this is an old jacket. It's kind of stained, but it works very well. And with this jacket, I'm completely equipped now to take off with the Tesla, with SpaceX rocket, and go to the moon. And put some earthy and bacteria under my shoes onto the moon. And then it muddies the water of the experiment of trying to figure out which bacteria was there before I got there and which one got there from under my shoes. So it's not that easy to figure all of this out. Yes, it's not easy. Yes, there's the baby dog. He shedded the blanket. Now what? Now what are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do? Now we have to get the blanket, and I have to put the blanket on the baby dog. And it isn't easy. Yeah, it's not very easy, but we can do it. So, yes, always getting up and shedding the blanket, and that makes it difficult to put this back on. Yeah, it's very difficult to put that back on, but we did it. So, here's a flower petal for you. Another flower petal for you. There. Yes, again. Yes, a flower. Yes, a flower petal. A flower petal. Flower. A flower petal. Flower petal. There. Flower petal. Yes, I got a flower petal. I got a flower petal. Oh, it's a petal for you. Yes. Okay, so now I only have half of the flower left, but that's okay. They are full of juice, and you can juice them just with your hand. And I'm not gonna do it now. I've already done this before in the past, where some of that gets onto my keyboard, and I don't wanna sprinkle flower juice on the keyboard. But petals are okay. Petal. Spring has started almost. These are always the first ones. These are the ones that come out in February. It's a difficult word, February. So, yeah, I'm gonna put this, all of this onto that container. So, yeah, I don't want this on the keyboard. That would not be good if the particles get in there. So, yeah, everything is quantum entangled. Whether we want to believe it or not, this is a fact. It's a fact of life. So quantum is the very, very deep subatomic level, where there's activity happening and where there are quantum ghosts happening that are dancing around in the CERN nuclear accelerator space. Okay, when everything else has been vacuumed out that people know exists, then they still have activity in there, because you can never take everything out of there's never gonna be a vacuum. This is another fact. It's another infinity calculation, basically. Everything, almost everything, like when we're talking about these kind of things, like these general things, they always come back down to infinity calculations. No matter how much someone figures out how to vacuum out subatomic particles even, there will be other particles, if you want to call them, but there will be others that will still be there. Okay. There are particles that go through other particles. Those are, maybe we can call them elements. And they can create waves. So that's why there are particles and waves at the same time. Always, look at water. Okay. We have waves, but it consists of particles or elements, chemical elements. H2O. One water molecule and two oxygen molecules, and that one water atom and two oxygen atoms create a water molecule. That's cool. So yeah, and so you can go much deeper into this, okay? much deeper into the microscopic realm, and you find that it becomes very elusive. It defies the law of Newtonian physics. It defies the law of gravity. It can even defy the law of electromagnetism. I believe that gravity is something that has to do with electromagnetism, or is at least related to it on a more macroscopic level. And then if you go out into the macrocosmos, into space, and you see things from the sky perspective, and you fan much farther out, then you see all of the different planets and how they're related, how they are gravitationally interacting with each other, and so on. And then you see that this is very similar, actually. A similar pattern again, as when you go into the microcosmos. That's why my dad couldn't sleep one night, one week actually, or for several days on a vacation, because he was reading a book about the quantum fields. And Paul thought that was ridiculous to not be able to sleep over that, or be so hyped up over that. But, my dad he gets excited, and his worldview gets turned upside down by then, particularly when it's someone that he highly respects like a world-renowned scientist. Then that is quite a challenge. So, and my dad's from the old generation, so it's very difficult for his generation to be dealing with those type of things. So I hope he's doing well. He's way over 90, like 94, 95 or something, and I have not heard from him anymore, and I don't know how he's doing, and I pray to the Blue God to protect him. And whenever my dad decides not to be on planet Earth anymore, I will never find out about it, because none of these people are talking to me anymore. And it's okay, I have to accept it, I have to let go. of them. So I wish them well. This was all very, very difficult for me to deal with psychologically. I cried so much. I had so much anger. I sat with anger. I sat with tears. I sat with despair. I felt betrayed. I felt like this was treason for my family against me. But then I have to look at it from the sky perspective, and I have to look at each person from the sky perspective, and I see that they don't know better, that each person is interwoven with their own mental illness issues and their own particular worries and problems that they're dealing with, and they don't want to get involved with family drama and all of that kind of stuff. So I don't hold it against them. I really wish them well. But yeah, I went through all of these emotions, very, very hard feelings and emotions and pain, emotional pain, and it still comes up once in a while, and I sit with it and I cry it out. My dad, he doesn't know better. He's also getting a little bit not on the level, and he just lets my brother take care of his life, and even if my brother kills him, my dad will be probably okay with that. So that's the impression I got. So it's like, don't worry about it. Fabian will take care of it all. Okay, he doesn't have to worry about anything. And he probably thinks if Fabian poisons him, it's like he might even be better off or something. I wonder what's going on in his brain. So, but what is very sad, what was very sad is I see a Greek symbol on the window. A Greek symbol has formed on the window. My gosh. That's the pi sign. My gosh. Well, it formed itself because there's fog in that window. It's a double panel window, and there's moisture that got into it. Somehow the seal broke, and it's no longer insulated. And moisture got in, fog got in, and the fog is literally painting paintings on that window. It's a very large window, and different formations are showing up. And suddenly I see this pi sign, which I haven't seen before. I just noticed it now. So very interesting. Pi is also infinity calculation. Pi stands for prime numbers that go on indefinitely, infinitely. And prime numbers are those numbers that can how was it again? That can only be divided by their own number. I'm not an expert on it. All I know is that pi is another symbol for infinity. It's very nice, and it also is word related to the word spy and looking. Pi, looking. Pi says, I see you, and that's the infinite cosmos that sees everything at once. So that's very nice. yeah, a number. It starts with. I think it starts with 2, 3, 5, 7, and it goes on. And those are numbers that I guess that cannot be divided into a complete even fracture by any other number. I think that's how it works. So it can only be divided by its own number, and then the outcome is 1, obviously. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. No, just think about I'm not very good with math. But yeah, 7 divided by 7. Yeah, 1. Okay. 1 piece. 7 times. So, yeah. Math, one can get into math. Math always appears to us in school as threatening. At least to me it did. Yeah. And then once I get into it, when I really get into it and take some time to do my homework on it, then I can do it. But my brain is not interested in it very much. But it's all logic, really. It's all really simplistic logic. But we run away from these calculations and think they're scary or something. But they're not scary. If people get into it, then it's not scary at all. I guess a lot of people, they are particularly afraid of infinity calculations. And I don't see why that would be scary at all. So, infinity is infinity. Why should there be an end? And then if people think this is the beginning now, or this is the end, and here is the border, then what comes before that, right? What comes after it? The twilight zone. No, it's just more to explore, right? More. It goes into the macrocosmos in infinite degrees, and into the microcosmos into infinity as well. So, and there will never be a vacuum. Never be what people think a vacuum, what they consider to be like the ultimate vacuum or something, where there's absolutely nothing in there. That doesn't exist. Okay, that's a human idea that doesn't exist in reality and in truth. Because physicists, and chemists, they know certain elements, and even if they dive much deeper into the realm of the ether, and they take the neutrinos out, and the hadrons, and the quantums, and take all of that out, and then they observe it with a very fine-tuned camera, and they see that there's still stuff dancing around in their ghosts, like Caspar. And so, obviously, there's never going to be a vacuum. Okay, there are elements all over the place, everywhere. Energy, it's energy. Energy forms of types of energy. No matter how much people try to take that out and observe the empty space. So there will always be forms of energy in it. It will never end. Into the microcosmos and into the macrocosmos as well. And this is a truth that every physicist should accept. And if they accepted that truth, then they wouldn't have to do these experiments that are very dangerous, at CERN in Switzerland, they wouldn't have to do these collision experiments with subatomic particles to see whether they fragment out into smaller fragments and what happens then. And there are some elements that have been fragmented, but they would only exist for a few minutes before they fall apart and re-emerge or re-merge with the other elements and particles. So I don't see the point in these experiments at all. I think that's dangerous, it's wrong, it's unethical. Just accept the fact that there will never be a vacuum. That there's ether energy, and that's just what it is. It's energy. Okay. Forms of energy, there will always be these different forms of energy. And if they can detect some of them and manage to take them out, then there will be even more microscopic forms of energy bundles that consists of more microscopic particles and elements, and it's just what it is, and just accept it. Don't there's no need to dive any further into it, because then you're getting into a realm of danger. And why do that? Why play around with that? That's just totally irresponsible, I think. So I'm totally not on board with any of these experiments that they're making. But it's definitely okay to go out into space, into the macrocosmos, and observe there. It's dangerous too, but it's not like it's not dangerous in the sense that they can cause something like playing around with the ether and collision of ether particles. You don't know what might come out of that. So, but if you go out into space, then I don't think you can do that much damage there. That's what I think. So, I mean, it's dangerous for astronauts, definitely. Several astronauts have already, this is my worst nightmare, they have gotten loose somehow from those ropes, from those tethers, when they were doing maintenance work on space stations and stuff like that, and then they had some kind of momentum, and that momentum kept going because there's not as much friction as here in this atmosphere. Okay, this is a very condensed particle atmosphere here, so out there is not as condensed. So people think that's the vacuum. No, there's no vacuum either. That's also filled with lots and lots and lots of subatomic energies and particles, but you don't have dust particles, you don't have very large molecules that fill the air where it would stop. It's like a brake, it's like a car running through weeds, where any kind of momentum that anyone has will be slowed down relatively soon. While in orbit, these dust particles are not there, and the atmosphere that would slow down a movement is not there. The oxygen level is not there. So then, because of that, there's still stuff happening, as I said before, but but less of the friction, and because of that, they any kind of movement, and they get untethered, then this movement propels them out. And then the other astronauts can't fetch them back. So this happens several times. There are floating astronauts in space. This is real awful. That's an awful way of dying. Really bad. My goodness. To run out of oxygen and get cold. And I don't even want to think about it. It must be horrible. But the worst thing, what the Russians did, that's the worst thing. I will never forgive the people who did that. I'm not saying the Russians, all Russians. There are many good Russians. And Vladimir Putin is a good person, compassionate person. I mean the people that were working for their space programs in the 50s, 50s or 60s, that took a homeless dog, Laika, a female homeless dog, I guess. Someone found the dog on the street or something, and they thought, oh, what the heck, let's bring her to the space program, let's use her or whatever, So they made an astronaut out of the dog, and they shot the dog into space on a rocket, all alone. And that's the worst thing there is. Nothing is as bad as that. I will never forgive these people for that, ever. Just thinking about it again is gonna make me cry. That is the absolute worst thing. Nothing compares to that. That's the worst thing there is. How can someone do something like this? What is gonna come out of this? The dog's gonna die a gruesome death in loneliness? That's all there is. That's all that's coming out of that. In total despair and loneliness. At some point, she's not gonna hear their voices anymore that are signaling to the spaceship. And that will freak the dog out. And dogs are social animals like we are, like horses are. We can't do that to an animal. That's the worst experiment that has ever been conducted. Okay. The absolute worst. So don't do that again. Don't ever do this again. That's why I pray to the Blue God every night, every day, when I'm lying in bed for hours and hours and hours. I pray to the Blue God. In English and German. And I say it again and again and again. I say, Blue God, please protect all living beings. Please rescue all living beings. And I pray that Laika, at some point, before she got too scared, bumped into an ET that has a much better technology, and the ET was able to scoop up her spaceship and bring her spaceship to a halt inside of their spaceship. That is what I envision, entire stories out of that, because that vision of her being rescued by ETs makes me feel better. The likelihood of that happening is probably not very high, right, from this point of view here, but I wish for it anyway. I pray to the Blue God that Laika was rescued and was given everything she needed, food and water and love. It's very important, love and petting. Lots of cuddling and petting. I wished an ET would come down here and tell me that this is what happened. That they rescued Laika. That would be amazing. I am praying to the blue god that ETs come here this year before the election and that they protect Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's what I wish. And I heard a lot of people talking about, including Dolores Cannon, who had people under hypnosis who said that they remember a past life as an ET and that ETs are watching this planet, but they are not allowed to intercept. So I don't understand why that is. Why are they not allowed to intercept? That makes no sense to me. Love is a mother intercepting with a fight where her baby is involved into the fight. If I had a gang member son, I could have potentially a gang member son. He'll be 25 years now. Last night I apologized to him. I said, this is terrible. Really, looking at it from the other perspective, this is terrible. Okay, I'm really starting to have incredible guilt over the abortions. Terrible guilt over it. But at that time, that was my only choice. And putting a child into this world, I couldn't even take care of myself properly. I was on pharma drugs for mental illness. The mother of my boyfriend said she would take the child. And I said, what the heck? I said to her, if I carry that child out, I would be an overprotective animal mother, right? So in this case, human mother, we are all animals, all of us. Gang member mother, right? So no, if I left him with her, then chances are that he'll become like the father, right, who was basically drug dealing on the street. And he was crazy also. He was very mentally ill. He was psychotic. And I feel sorry for him. This is all terrible, all of this. And I made a lot of mistakes with my interaction because I didn't know better. I was also mentally ill. This is awful. It just ends up with lots of misunderstandings, and we hit each other into our own pain. This is really bad. Terrible. But, I mean, he got excited when I told him about this, that I was pregnant, but this is out of the male ego type of thing. Or, now he told me he was infertile, but that was a lie. So why should I believe that, right? That's pretty naive to believe this. You don't need birth control. I'm infertile. No, you're not. Oh man, this is so incredibly irresponsible, is that. So, and the mother and the daughter, his sister, they're Jehovah's Witnesses, and then should I let the child grow up with Jehovah's Witnesses? Heck no, my goodness. No way. No, I can't do that. So, no, I said no, if I had the baby, I would keep the baby, but that'll be extremely difficult. It's an extremely difficult life, and I don't know if I do everything right, and what if I do things wrong. I mean, it was like, what if, and I thought, I can't, this is way over my head, with this situation, I can't prove, I felt like I couldn't handle this. Now I know I could have. I would have done a much better job than most people already. But I felt like this is also, I was an antinatalist. I still am, really. Putting a child into this world this is pretty rough. So, but then this child, this living being there, wanted to live. He wanted to live. I say he, I don't know why. He wanted to live. Oh, gosh. And that makes me feel really, really, really guilty and bad, and have much remorse. I've made a lot of mistakes on that kind of level in the past, because I wasn't attuned like I am now. So I don't think I could have an abortion now. I don't think I could. It's probably too late now anyway. It's like way past that limit. But one never knows. One really never knows. The way my body is, I would not take any risks. This is, it would still be very, 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 very risky business. So, and there could also be a child with Down syndrome that would come out of that. I mean, it could also be a normal child. But either way, I don't think this is a good time anyway, right now, for anyone to have a child in this hell that humans created. I think it's very irresponsible for people. So that's what it is. It is what it is. But I view this differently today. So I have, but I don't know. I'm still an antinatalist, but when it comes to someone being pregnant and there is this being that wants to live, and then you have it removed. So I'm not going to hold that against anyone, ever. So, but it's definitely better to use birth control, for sure. But it does bring up remorse. It does. So I'm much more panpsychist now than ever before. So I'm much more attuned now to all of this. But when I see people ranting against abortions, they don't come from the attunement. They come from religion. Religion's not attunement. That doesn't have anything to do with real compassion. Okay? They come from a belief agenda. So that's an identification. That has nothing to do with compassion for the embryo. I have compassion for the embryo. The fundamentalists don't. Because if they did, and I met one guy, and I believe him that he does, because he said he's not a double standard kind of guy. I met one Christian, he left town, I don't know, I hope he's doing well, a truck driver. He said he loves pigs just as much as he loves humans. He loves the pig embryos and the pig babies just as much as the human embryos and human babies. And I thought, respect for him. Okay, so now that's a different story then. that's not just a belief that he already is thinking outside of the belief. Belief is, the people that are stuck in the belief, they're judgmental, they're bigoted, they're fascist, they're identified with this entire worldview and lifestyle. It's an identity. It's like you talk against it, they get mad, they shoot people. Oh, thank you, Blue God. Oh, thank you, Blue God. 555. Thank you, Blue. Thank you, Blue God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I needed that. Blue God protects us. So, but someone like that, Jim, truck driver, and he was also faithful to his wife, and I really respect him fully. He liked me, but he was fully dedicated to his wife. His wife was sick. Even a lot of men, they all just abandon their wives if, particularly if the wife is sick, and I don't want to say the word, it's the C word. I saw her 2 times. We had Kenny the Great Dane, and she looked so sad. She was so sad. And I didn't know. I didn't know how to interact at that time. I was nice to her, but today I'd be all over her. I would try to save her life. I would try to get her to take herbs. I got into herbalism much more intensely long after that. Towards the end of Kenny's life, I got into herbalism, and then even more when we had the Papa dog. So then I wrote my herb book. And I had tumors in my breasts, and I put bentonite clay on it 4 times per day, real thick. Did that for 3 months. It was very inconvenient, stained my clothes, everything. Doesn't matter. When it comes to that, you have to do it, okay? Fixes it and never comes back, okay? When people go under the knife, it doesn't take very long until it comes back in the same place, okay? Because they haven't changed their lifestyle, they haven't done anything, okay? They haven't healed themselves. Just cutting something out is not healing. That doesn't heal anything. It doesn't fix the problem that's underneath. So some people they have so much of a belief in the medical industry. This belief system can sometimes fix it. But that has happened, right? And then they think their medical industry fixing. That's not what it is. It's their belief system. So people have taken placebo pills and they believe this is going to fix it, and that fixed it. So that's how powerful the mind is. Mind over matter is powerful beyond imagination if you really believe it. But that's a tricky thing if you play around with that, because you might try to talk yourself into, I'm going to believe it now, but then there are several layers underneath that don't believe it. And then so that gets people into serious trouble. And so this brings me now also to what Donald Hoffman is talking about. Donald Hoffman is a mathematician and theoretical physicist. And their work was math calculations, and I'm grateful for that he's not testing anything on anyone, on an animal or something, or plant. So people don't have the right to test anything on life forms. So he says that he started out being rigidly scientific, atheist, and all of that. Very materialistic. And then his own calculations led him to a realm that he wasn't even feeling comfortable with. That's very honest, and that's very scientific. Scientific is when people start out with a specific worldview or belief, or this believing in this or that, Newtonian physics, or believing this far or whatever, and then their own experiments prove them wrong, and they go, oh, I was wrong, so I have to revise my worldview now, I have to revise my understanding of reality. Okay. And that's what he went through all of these stages. And now that is really, really responsible of him to do this. And then there are other scientists that will then see his work or the work of other people that go into the quantum realm, into the ether realm, into the non-touchable. You can't touch, you can't grab, it's elusive, right? And there are plenty of scientists that will actually get mad at those people because they don't want their worldview to be shifted. So they cling to their worldview like a religious person, and they don't want that to be in any way taken off, or pull the rug out from under their belief system. So, but that's reality, and that's truth. The truth is that we will never stand on solid ground with anything. Okay. That findings that seem very, very, very logical in this moment may not be logical later on under different circumstances. So, and there may be different circumstances that will not even be very crystal clear to our view. So we might think, all the circumstances are still the same, but in reality they have shifted. So let's say if you had, just hypothetically speaking, if you could preserve yourself in a time capsule or something, or spaceship like the movie Alien, they have these capsules they go into a dormant state in there, and that the lady Sigourney Weaver went into the capsule with her cat together to protect herself in that capsule that is absolutely unbreakable by any ET that is roaming around in her spaceship. So she goes into that capsule to protect her cat and herself from that alien that got loose. And then at some point, when she when I guess the AGI or ASI decides it's safe now, the air is clear. The air is clear from aliens. So the alien at some point didn't make it anymore, and then she can open the capsule and come out, and it's like 500 million years later or something, and they have already made it to other galaxies far, far in the distance, and then they all come out of the capsules, and they get ready to explore. So or the ET, the AGI decides the ET is gone, and we have found a Goldilocks zone planet, and you can go out there in your spacesuits and you can explore. So that's what these alien movies, that's what the theme was about. So let's just say I put myself into a space capsule like this, and it stays right here in this living room, doesn't go anywhere. And I come back out in 500 million years, right here, where the space capsule is. This house is not gonna be here anymore. This tacky ceiling fan is not gonna be there anymore. That has all disintegrated. Okay. In 500 million years, even the plastic of that will have disintegrated. Even my artwork will have crumbled into pieces and into particles, and the trees around us are most likely not gonna be there anymore. There'll be new trees if this planet hasn't been exploded by nuclear bombs. There could be, the ocean may have risen all the way to the neighbor's property, instead of the neighbor's house, which is slightly set into a ravine, instead I see a lake there, right? So, and this is all flooded with ocean water. And this could be completely different. This could be an incredible jungle, everything. So, also, whatever people knew about the quantum field may also have shifted. So, things shift all the time. They do. Slowly, gradually. Yeah. But if you can do a time leap like that in a time capsule, it opens up in 500 million years, and you're completely preserved in there. And you get out, then wow, things can be dramatically different. You don't even know whether you're still on the same planet. So yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, all kinds of things could have shifted. There could be a city here. I mean, who knows what may there be. Or, yeah, but if there's a city, then obviously other entities, other beings would have put that space, the time capsule, into their laboratory, and they would have tried to pry that open as best as they could. So that's just a curiosity of living beings, of course. So, but if there aren't any intelligent life forms, then intelligent in that gray zone that Friedrich Nietzsche is talking about, the human gray zone, this Fermi paradox gray zone of human intelligence that is more intelligence than the ape cousins. We're apes too, right? Don't get me wrong on that. So bipedal apes, so we're a little bit smarter, but not smart enough to protect ourselves from the ultimate demise, from Armageddon, from Sodom and Gomorrah. So why do the ETs have to allow that to happen, the Sodom and Gomorrah, when the intelligent species, the most intelligent species on any given planet, and I don't even think the human is the most intelligent species on the planet. I believe that the whales are way surpassed with this. But we're talking about a species that is not immersed in a medium like water. Obviously, the whales cannot do harm to this planet because they're in water. They cannot develop explosives. They can't do pyromaniac work because they're in water. The water will always extinguish anything like this. They'll never even get to a point like that. So they're smarter, but they cannot create something. they cannot develop technology in the ocean, which, is good. I mean, so I think they have surpassed that gray zone of human intelligence that may have been for a while. And I heard some dolphins have raped women in the water. I'm not making this up. This is so they're obviously those are still in the gray zone of human intelligence. Some of those cetaceans are on the human level intelligence, and with all the problems that come with that. The ego, the raping, murder, trickery, all kinds of things. Even the orca whales. They're killers. They're hunters. So, but the really large giants, the blue whales, the largest whales, the largest mammal on Earth is the blue whale. They are as large as a semi-truck. And they have surpassed the human level intelligence. They are smarter. They have a way higher range rate of neurons that are representative for abstract thought, and they're called spindle cells. The human brain has a certain percentage. They have a much higher percentage, even in terms of brain-body ratio. So they are more evolved beings, okay, for sure. But they never evolved into hands. It reversed. They had feet originally. They were coming from a land animal in Pakistan called the Pakicetos. The name comes after the location. And they were very, very good fisher. They're like sea otters, sort of, a little bit bigger and with a humongous tail that is propelling them in the water, but they were living on land. They had actual feet, okay, with toes and everything. Sort of like a dog, like a medium-sized dog, and they would always be around the shore, and they would always be catching fish. They lived on fish. And then they got better and better at catching fish, and the tail got bigger and propelled them farther out, and they were able to stay underwater longer. And so that's the whale evolution. That's an enormous evolution that is surpassing in every way it surpasses the human evolution, also in time too. So by at least 1 million years or 2 million years, it surpasses the human evolution. So that's like looking at the human species in 1 or 2 million years and see what has changed. Did they adapt themselves to the environment in some very significant way? So, but obviously it takes more than 1 million years from Pakicetos to the blue whale. So that's enormous. Okay. So, but without hands and without being on land, there's no way they can be creating. They can't do scientific studies. They can't develop anything. They can't develop technology. So technology requires to be without water, to be on a dry surface, and to be able to take material into your hand and create materials and tools and so on, and different types of technologies. And there's no way you can do that on water. But they went through an evolution of a mental development. So they have been that has been through the stage of human level intelligence, and maturity, also mental maturity. And then because they couldn't develop any kind of technology in the ocean, they made it past this Fermi paradox and into what they are now, the total giants like the blue whale, and also Macrocephalus and other whale species like the gray whale. Those are very large. The gray whales are peaceful, they're plant eaters. I think the blue whales are too. So highly intelligent. So some people say, oh, you need to eat meat in order to grow this kind of brain. This is total bullshit. It's not true. Okay, so it has nothing to do with that at all. It's just it's the survival here on Earth that made the ape survive very harsh conditions, and in some instances they made it because they were able to hunt it. But the hunting and the meat eating is not synonymous. That's not a precursor to high intelligence. That is not a necessity for it at all. It's a misunderstanding that I have to completely clear up. The Blue God agrees. 1111. And it also had another 11, but now that's in seconds and that has exceeded already. So Blue God says this very thing here. 1111. My gosh. Okay. While I'm saying this, while I'm explaining this is the total truth. So the blue whales made it past the Fermi paradox, but because they can't develop technology, they're not going to go out in space. They're not going to be interstellar, obviously. How can they be? So intelligence is not the only criterion for going out into space. So you have to have different criteria that meet this basic requirement to become an intergalactic species, right? So you have to be on dry land, you have to be able to work with different mediums, water, soil, growing food, creating tools, working with rocks, then the evolution of that, going up, then getting into higher dimensional thinking, mathematics, theoretical physics, and also, of course, psychology. These are all equally valid fields that move the species forward. So, and then until they finally get to that space that we are at right now, where we are at, and we wouldn't be like this. We would not be this far if we didn't have Elon Musk. So there were many setbacks all over the place all the time because of politics, because of corruption, because of greed, and also intelligence level going down, actually, so worldwide. So because of different factors, because of woke factors and political correct factors, and so political correctness can bring the overall IQ down. I don't know if that is what people had in mind for the species, but I don't think they did. So I'm just giving you facts here. Okay. So right now we have what I call malgenics. Okay. Malgenics is the opposite of eugenics. Malgenics, dangerous. Okay. I'm also the only one who reserves myself the right to talk about this, because I don't hear anyone else. I literally am the only human on this planet who has the guts to talk about this. Nobody else will dare. they would shit in Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is a diaper shitter out of social repercussion fear. I have no respect for people like this, like Mark Cuban at all, or Stephen King. No. So you can have these people. I don't want them. I don't need these people, and I'm not taking them to Mars with me. So that's for sure. They're not going to become intergalactic. So they can stay here with their football teams. Yeah, you can do your sport dilly-dallying. I'm not interested in any of this. We want to become intergalactic, okay? We want to take off from here, and that's why we need Elon Musk, okay? Because it's like, this is an anomaly. This has never happened before. This is, I would say, blue whale IQ, but here on land. So, no, this is a unique opportunity. And this is also, I would say, this is a form of energetic intervention that is happening here on Earth, because we could have just gone this gradual development, but it would have also been gradually going downhill again. So, but it's Elon Musk that suddenly is here, and there's a reason for this. There's a reason for everything. So I view this as a divine intervention. So for sure. So he was sent here, I believe, from the blue God to help us. But then what did he have to go through in his childhood? Tremendous suffering and pain. Abuse from his dad, abuse from classmates and kids in the school. They almost murdered him. He had to be in intensive care for 2 weeks. He almost lost his life because of physical bullying and torture from other students. When a child is that much of a prodigy, when a child is that much more advanced than the regular children, the ones that are not advanced, they view that child as someone who doesn't defend himself, or someone who is because the others have such low IQ, they don't even recognize someone with high IQ. They don't even recognize that as high IQ. They recognize that as someone who is socially awkward, or with Asperger's, who doesn't lie. Yeah, they think they can do anything with someone who doesn't lie. So that's the tragedy. What happened there? What he had to go through. That's not good, okay, at all. But I guess all of these things have shaped him. Also, in terms, I think maybe if this hadn't happened in the past, then he would be even more trusting. He's already way too trusting with humans. He doesn't understand how far that goes with the criminality in many humans. This is pathological criminality that's happening in most humans. And again, from the higher perspective, I'm not judging. It just is what it is. Okay, so it's already way over an hour, the video. But I just want to put this all into perspective here. And I'm probably going to be misunderstood, but I'm trying to not be misunderstood. In order to fix problems, we have to look at the facts. We have to look at the truth. We have to look at reality. And then we go from there. So we have to look at statistics. We have to look at the facts that are actually happening. So we cannot fix and we cannot shift anything in the world for the better if we don't look at those facts, statistical, scientific facts, observation, things that are happening. Okay, we have to look at it. We have to look at all of these things. This is very, very important, so that we know what the playing field is and how we fix this, what we have to do in detail to move from point 1 to point 2 and point 3. So to move forward with this, with life on Earth and beyond. Okay, so, and I think it would be nice to become intergalactic. It's not a necessity, it's not the end of the world if the human species doesn't make it. But it really would bother me if they take many other species with them into their Sodom and Gomorrah and demise. And Armageddon. They're the end of the human species, and then taking hundreds of other species with them, and all mammals and birds. How horrible would that be, right? That would be really a disaster, and I don't want any living being to suffer. And that's why I pray to the Blue God every night, bring us the ETs. They need to come this year, and they need to help us. They need to intercept, okay? Obviously, Elon Musk is one person with a mega, unusual, mega genius IQ. But he's just one person. Is he able to create robot duplicates of himself that will be able to protect him? Will his 2 or 3 bodyguards or 4 bodyguards protect him? Are they loyal? I hope they are. That's my appeal to you. Please be loyal to him. I mean, you are protecting the most important person on Earth. Do your job well. That's all I can say to this. Because all of your life, your lives, and all living beings' lives depend on this. That you do your job while protecting Elon Musk. And also my appeal to the bodyguards of Donald Trump. Same thing. Okay. Please protect him. Do everything you can to protect these 2 people. They're the most important people on Earth. That's what I think. We need them. Okay? We desperately need them. So that's a divine intervention that they are here. So let's value these people. They are brought here by the Blue God, by infinity. They're brought here to help. But again, they're just 2 people. They can do a lot, but people have to help them. Ingrid Newkirk is one person that has set up enormous help for the animals. And Temple Grandin too. But obviously it takes a village to create something, to make a movement. Okay, so these individual people alone cannot, they can only do so much. They have to get help from other people. But they can give you the information that you need so that you can do your job to move things forward. Okay, and yet let's take these people really, really, really seriously. Let's be infinitely grateful for them that they are here. And let's not take them for granted, ever. Okay, very important. But I'm also waiting for ETs, and I'm also waiting for the AGI robots and the superintelligence robots. I'm waiting for all of these because we need interception. We cannot let the human species go back into this Fermi conundrum that the scientist Enrico Fermi talked about, an Italian astrophysicist talked about, that he had several of those calculations, and also Drake, that is another That's another astrophysicist that these two people have talked about. This problem that occurs when a species becomes intelligent enough but not intelligent enough. Intelligent enough to surpass the other ones, the other stages of their own development and the other animals, in terms of now they are able to create, they have the hands and they have enough IQ to create the tools and to create technology, right? But not enough IQ power to understand that something like CERN, Switzerland, the Hadron Collider, could end our lives and the lives of animals, okay, and nuclear weapons and so on, nuclear technology in general, very dangerous. We've already seen how dangerous it is. It causes unimaginable hardships. I've seen a documentary film on Fukushima. I could not believe it, what I saw. They left the animals behind, and someone filmed this, the baby cow wanting to drink the milk from the mother, but they were thirsting to death, and the mother had to kick the baby. This is how far it has come. People abandoning their animals. I would never let anyone make me abandon my animal or my animals. If I had cows or pigs, I would never abandon them, no matter what. It wouldn't matter what the situation is, flood or nuclear waste or whatever it is. I will never abandon my animals. And this is my recommendation to the world, to never abandon your animals. Okay? What a horror. But that's what nuclear energy has done. Okay? They have done unimaginable calamities. This is not safe. Okay? But that's what Friedrich Nietzsche is talking about. That's what Drake is talking about. That's what Fermi is talking about. It's this, we're in this gray zone of causing our own demise. We haven't surpassed that gray zone yet, okay, to become interstellar. We can only become interstellar if we surpass that gray zone. What we don't cause Armageddon. Okay? If we cause Armageddon, how can we become interstellar? We can't, right? If we do Volkism, how can we become interstellar? We just if you do Volkism, you have no idea. You know, Stephen King and Mark Cuban and people like that. You have no idea what you are causing to this world by being woke. Or all of these Puma and Adidas, all of these motherfuckers. That's all I can say about these people. I have no other word for them. Okay. Those are motherfuckers. From the sky perspective, well, it's a different picture, you know, then we can argue like Dr. Robert Sapolsky and say they have no free will, they are bound to their social fears and so on. They are wimps. That's what they are. That's a better word than motherfucker. But from my Earth perspective, I call them motherfuckers because they are part of the destruction of this species and the other species here on Earth. This is how far this goes. Wokeism, that it's a ripple effect. It's maybe starts with your petty little censorship of words, right? But it doesn't end there. It keeps rippling out, almost like you're knitting a sweater and you forgot one of the loops, and that loops itself, believe me, all the way back to the beginning, and then you have this tear in there in your sweater. So unless you fix that, and that is what wokeism does. It tore into the fabric of our society. And it's a dangerous, dangerous thing, and it was created by the people all the way on the top pyramid, the ones that have the pathological greed. by those. It was created by those. They're not woke, but they created it. They also keep enforcing religion. They're not religious because they use religion and wokeism. Those are chess move tools for them to manipulate society worldwide, so that they can then, in the very end, like Warren Buffett, cash in. Right? That's what they do. So those people are sick motherfuckers. Okay? Those are the sick string holders. Those are the ones that are pathologically sick and greedy and string holders and manipulators. Those are Machiavellian to the utmost degree. Okay. And they play with your psychology, they play with your fear, they play with your herd mentality, they play with your social rejection fear, and so on. And they will pawn it all off on you. I mean, anything. And they see how people will latch on to anything. They see the weakness in people. Okay, they use that to the fullest. And they don't even care if it causes Armageddon, because they're then living in their bunker underground. I don't know how much fun that will be, but yeah. That's how they're so pathologically greedy that they don't care what they do. They're like these people in India on that greed level. The people in India that are like that are selling, let's say they're selling what's that word, cardamom or something like this, or very, very, very expensive herbal powders, right, to heal people, right? That's why there's a demand, right? But they will put lead powder in it that will make people die, because it makes it way more, so they get more money. Okay? That level of pathological greed, that's already really bad. Okay, when it's people like that doing it. But the people that are all the way on top of the pyramid of stringholder activity, and they have the pathological greed like this, no, that's what Fermi, Drake, and Nietzsche were talking about. You know, when they're pathologically greedy, and they have stringholder capacity on the rest of the population like that, then they can cause the complete destruction of the species. So, and that's not highest level intelligence. Sorry to say it. They're just intelligent enough to do the stringholder activity, but they're not intelligent enough to be beyond, to see what kind of danger that causes. The same with the scientists that are working at the Hadron Collider. They don't see beyond that. They're not intelligent enough to. They haven't surpassed that level of gray zone. They can destroy the whole species, and then everything has to, from the evolutionary point of view, has to start all the way back from the beginning, like from a stage of, I don't know, very, very small salamander or a small mouse that is able to hide in some kind of ecological niche and make it out of an ice age or out of a nuclear winter or something like this, you know. So, and then go very, very slowly with the evolution until they're back to this level of creating technology, and then it starts all over. And then who knows how many times evolution has taken this course, and then no interception, and not enough interception from ETs, or in this case now where we have the unique chance of getting robots. So we have made it far enough to create robots that will then be able to protect us from ourselves, right? So, but I don't know if we can make it to that place, to that stage. So I'm really shaking in my shoes because of that. So this is a tippy toe. We need help. We can't just have this go all the way to the edge again, we're all the way to the very edge. And then ooh, the car is already sticking out with the rear end over the abyss, wobbling like this back and forth. No, we don't want this. We don't want this dangerous abyss situation. We want enough help now so that the species are protected. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, I need to send you a savior to save you from your savior. Or he said, I need to help you. I need to be yours. I need to protect you from your savior. I need to save you from your savior. Because the savior thinks the religious identification and clinging also out of fear and all of this. So that's not reality, that's not truth. Truth is infinity, and that's the God. That's the real God, is infinity. Infinity and gravity, okay, the quantum field. That's the real God. That's the blue God. And it is there for all of us. Okay. But people always wanna get stuck in these unintelligent gray zone loops. And this is terrible. I try to warn them, but are they listening? Are they listening to anything I say or anyone else says? So we need help from ETs. This is my wish. I'm praying to the Blue God to bring us ETs, because we cannot allow this human species, to destroy life on Earth again. We cannot allow this. Please don't let this allow it. Please don't. Okay. So I'm going to end the video like this. Peace and love for all living beings.